Mijn gast van vandaag groeide op in Californië en kwam uit voor Yuba College en San Francisco State. Daarna maakte hij de sprong naar Europa en speelde hij in Cyprus, Engeland, Zwitserland en in Nederland. En in 2019 werd hij assistent bondscoach van het Nederlandse basketbalteam. En nu staat hij aan de vooravond van een nieuw basketbalseizoen om als coach aan de slag te gaan bij Donar Groningen. Mijn gast van vandaag is Matthew Otten. Matthew, on behalf of our viewers, a very warm welcome in our studio of the Namiddag.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I guess it are very busy times for you right now, because I heard that not only you're going to be the new coach of Donar Groningen, you have to move for your new job, and there's also a baby on its way.
Yeah, it's been quite a busy summer. We're still in the process of rebuilding our new home to prepare for our baby on the way.
Yeah.
And also of course we had a summer camp with the national team this summer. So it's been quite busy. But this week I finalized my roster in Donar, which is a lot of work. Between contacting agents, watching film, contacting coaches and players. So now I can take a little break. We hope our house is ready next week. So,
Matthew, I really love to go back to the past and then go back to the present. So you grew up in California, and you started to play basketball at the age of 12, if I'm correct. When were you bitten by the basketball bug?
That's tough. I grew up actually on a military base. My father was in the Air Force.
Okay.
I think maybe it was just the bases I were on, but basketball was such a big thing. It's a bit, everybody's doing it, and on base as a kid, there's not a lot to do because you're surrounded by walls. So playing basketball, I played many sports, but basketball is what everybody on base does. So I think that was part of it. I don't know if you know Shaquille O'Neal.
Of course.
Was an Air Force kid. David Robinson.
Oh, really?
A lot of Air Force kids become basketball players because it's a big part of the culture of being on base.
And what was it with basketball that was more fun, more attractive than all the other sports you were doing?
I think that I just love to play. It was fast pace. Being able to move fast, and there's always a score. We talked about this before the interview. It's a lot of action. And I think that I liked it as a player as well. So
it's a very attractive sport to look at.
Yeah, like absolutely. And then of course, growing up in America, you're inspired by these stars as a kid.
Yeah,
it's always on TV and going to games, and so you have the inspiration factor, but also the game is great. So,
and you played for college teams?
I played for Division II college. I played for first junior college, Yuba College, and then I went to a college called San Francisco State. So it was nice to get your university paid for, education paid for because you have a little bit of talent. So
yeah, and for the viewers who don't know, but it's big in America, right? Like the college, the university season, the university games.
Yeah,
it's also on national television, right?
Yes, if you in my school, if you make playoffs, but if you go to a Division I, then it's always televised. It's very big. They really take care of athletes. Top athletes in America, especially basketball.
Yeah. Now we're going a bit fast forward in time because you moved to Europe.
I played a year of semi-professional in California, and I ran into a coach who coached in England, or he came to a game to scout me, and he introduced me to the idea of playing in Europe, and then he introduced me to the idea of playing in Europe. Then I hired an agent, which happened to be a Dutch agent.
Oh, really?
And he got me a job to play in Cyprus. So that's, it wasn't really in the plans, but I was playing semi-professional in America, and I said, I can make my living from basketball, of course. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a difficult decision to go to Europe?
No, I think growing up on base, like I said, you're always moving. I think it was easy because I never had a home base anyway.
Is there a big difference between the European basketball culture and the American basketball culture?
It's quite big. I think in America, it's more about individual, of course. In Europe, it's more about the team. I think you still have your individual stars, but in sense of play, a style of play, it's more team basketball. In America, it's more individual. Isolation.
Oh, like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay. Yeah. And was it easy or difficult to adapt to the European culture?
As a person, it was okay. It was, I'm always, you really have to get into the culture of the place you're living. I think that's the challenge for an import player. You have to be interested in new places. I lived in Limassol, and I wanted to go see all the places in the areas, and playing in England and getting into the culture and going to football games. I went to a Liverpool game. I think that if you like that, then it's easier. But I also heard that some import players come here and they get culture shock, and they go back and they don't continue with their career.
Okay.
But you really need to be interested in seeing the world and being involved in different cultures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Later on, you went to the Netherlands. First, you went to England. First Cyprus, then England, then Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah.
And then the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
What was the reason you made the step to the Netherlands?
One, I had a Dutch agent, and two, I could get my Dutch citizenship.
Okay.
Because my father is Dutch.
Oh, your father is Dutch. Okay.
So that was a big influence for me. I wanted to live here. I wanted to play here. I also have a lot of family here, uncle, cousins. Oh,
great.
And I love the culture here, of course.
Looking back at your career as a player, what's the thing you're the most proud of?
Well, first, playing professionally.
Yeah.
That's one because it's very hard. I think that there's a statistic out that's like 0.01% chance to play professionally after your high school or college career.
Yeah.
So that, and winning championship in 2009, 2010 with Donar, my old and current club.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Later on, we will talk about Donar.
Yeah.
Did you had a backup plan back then? If your basketball career wouldn't pan out the way it panned out this way?
I studied recreation and leisure studies, and with emphasis on event planning.
Mm-hmm.
I would have found or planned events. Now I do basketball camps,
Cool.
which wasn't the plan, but I use my degree for something.
Yeah, and you still have the feeling for it.
Yeah.
You still like it.
So event planning was the backup plan, but basketball was always the number one drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after you were a basketball player, you start coaching, and you were like the assistant coach of the Dutch national basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get that position?
Well, in 2015, I was assistant coach for Sam Jones when I stopped playing for Rotterdam my last season. I became the assistant coach for Sam Jones for a club, Den Bosch. It used to be called SPM Shooters, now it's called New Heroes. And he was the associate head coach for the national team. So I think I was going to practices. I watched Tone give practice. I watched Sam give practice with the national team. So I started showing interest in learning also. And I think once I started coaching promotion division, my name was out there, and I think Sam backed my ability to do scouting, to do individual coaching. I think between having a network and knowing Sam, the opportunity arose, and then several interviews because they're very thorough. And then the interview with Mauricio Buscaglia, the head coach now. We hit it off. And here we are. So.
Great. And before you
coaching styles or opinions, but I think you have to have pure intention towards your players. I really want you to have the best career. I really want you to succeed on and off the court. I think a coach is more than just a basketball coach. He's also influencing, people in their lives because I really care about your success on and off the court. I do thorough character checks, and in my opinion, if you get the right characters together, there's a good chance that they're going to work well together. So that's the first goal. But I can't predict whether or not they're going to have a click.
No.